Yeah, maybe we can start talking a little bit about this, because then you have the map and then a little bit about the idea. As we considered that let's say the central part of the city would be a nice place to be. So they are in the circle. So it's where we are. And there is the train station where you have been. These are some university campuses, and here is just the main central area in the island. Because when we arrived, the idea was that we would use another place that we're going to show you later, but which was even down in the south, maybe around here. But first it was even further away from the place we lived, so where we went yesterday. And they said that it's also close to university campuses and university residences, but the place is not that nice, and it's in a very small street with that only the people who live there go by. So at the end, yes, and not many people go there, but at the same time, there are many church activities happening, and sometimes we were in the room like with the youth, and then beside there were just some people singing, for example. So it was not that. Yeah, it's nice. They started a renovation work in that place, but for kind of weekly activities, we saw that we needed to do something. Yeah, so this is the place, and then this up here it was the room, let's say, that was dedicated to us. So you can see that it was very bad. Like they were even they even allowed us to if you wanted to paint the room and to redecorate, but the problem was that the scouts were using just the room right here on the left. And sometimes we arrived, everything was so dirty that we just have to clean everything up and so on. And then when we were a little bit with the bigger group, we could use another room just beside it for more space. But then, thankfully, the small room up there it started to be small, really. So it was very nice. So let's say that when we arrived, the idea was really to go around and to get to know, because here in the Lyon consistory, as they call it, there are 8 parishes. So there are 8 local partners for Mission Jeepp. So it's the Lutheran Church here, Lyon Gauche, which is the owner of this building also. Change, Terreau, and then there are the 2 further away in the metropolitan area. So they are in Bonvelin, another in Lyon, and there are 2 cities also a little bit further away in the north, one in the north and one in the southeast. So we got to go to all the different worship services. We went to all church council meetings. We went to all the youth activities they proposed at the time, and there was only one activity for this age range that we work now, which was the group that already met at this place 2 times a month. And when we arrived, they were 5-6 people. Yeah. So it was mostly, actually it was very fast, because we did it in a very short time, because people were kind of very anxious about all this, as we had been in France the year before, and then people even talked about the possibility that we could just leave Nantes and come directly to Lyon, but then the way our visas would go and so on, we had to stay more time in Brazil than we expected. And then we just arrived at the end of September 2017 in Lyon. So we did all this, let's say, between and 2017, beginning of 2018. And in January 2018, we started already proposing the first activities. So the first thing we tried was, as this group gathered only twice a month, we said, okay, we can take the 2 other Mondays, it was always on Monday, to propose something more spiritual, kind of Bible study or study around the subject and so on. So it was what we did. And yes, and it was when the room started to get small for the people, the number of people who came. And then Mariana just reminded me that probably this was one of the first gatherings that we proposed in this new kind of style.
Diz que a gente estava preparado quando a gente propôs toda segunda de chegar lá numa segunda e não ter ninguém, e nunca aconteceu.
As the people were telling us that maybe it was not really that the youth wanted, we were really prepared to arrive there and to have nobody, but it never happened actually. And when we started this, also we started to use the internet in a more objective way, and really to invite people. And let's say that every week there was at least one person that nobody knew in the group that just came out of the blue because of what they saw on the internet. So it was really impressive. The other thing that we did was connected to the Catholic University of Lyon, because this is one of the challenges, and that's why I showed you the map in the beginning. The university campuses in Lyon are very spread everywhere. Okay. So it's very difficult to start some work from zero and to be like everywhere. Also, mostly knowing that there are other missions that go to reach out at university students, and we are not here for competition. So we decided to use what was proposed to us at the time, and actually on the year before we arrived, when still Maria and Jacob were here, the Protestant church started a partnership with the chaplain at the time at the Catholic University, and they started running the Alpha course there, together with the Anglican pastor, which is this nice guy here on the left. So when we arrived, they had just had, I think, the first session of Alpha course that year, and then you can see there is Mariana here, right? Daniel was around. No, yeah, it's a little bit dark, but Daniel is here. Yeah.
Can I ask a question? How does the Alpha course contextualize into
French
Catholicism
okay.
arena?
We see that Alpha course is very strong here in a Catholic Church, very, very strong. So there is one close by parish that runs it. There's another big one on the island that also runs it.
Yeah.
So there is another big one that is very charismatic on the other side of the island that also runs.
Yeah.
So we haven't been there at a Catholic Alpha, let's say.
Yeah, I'm curious.
But it's something that works very well.
Yeah.
Because for what we see for French people, they like very much this convivial part that the gatherings of Alpha propose, and that inspired us very much for what we do here, for example, on the thing you saw on Monday. And so.
Mas eu acho que eles começam com Alpha e depois aí eles partem mais para a questão de catolicismo mesmo, depois do Alpha.
Yeah, maybe what Mariana is telling me is that now this thing about a kind of adult catechism is growing a lot, and maybe what they do is that they talk more like about the basis of faith with Alpha, and then they go on with more Catholicism stuff afterwards. Okay. Yeah. So. So in the first semester, so we're still at the end of 2017, things worked well. So the second picture is the beginning of 2018. So let's say that we had 1 month advertising every Monday afternoon that we would launch a new Alpha. So we had the crepe, we had something to eat, and then we just gave to people and then we invited them. But then at the end, nobody came. And the place there also is very nice because the campus is very beautiful. It was in an old prison, So they kept part of the old building, and then another thing, another part is very, very modern, and they have a kind of, say, a basement where it's a place for students just to relax, and there's a very big screen and so on, but nobody came. So talking a little bit to the chaplain at the time, which is this guy on the right. We work with him to today, even despite the fact that he's not the chaplain there anymore. He said that there were 2 student homes connected to the Catholic University, and then maybe we could try something there. One of the houses has 150 bedrooms, and the other around 70 something. And then we started something. We did the first thing there still on December 17 for the Fête de Lumière, or the light party that will happen next weekend, not this weekend but the other one. Christian came here in the on weekend like this, because for the Catholics, the 8th December is the date that generated the lights party, because in the past, during the plague time, they say that they prayed to Mary, and then there was a kind of benediction and so on. And then for the Catholic tradition, many people put the light, a candle, outside their windows. So this is the real origin for the light party, yeah. And then the 8th December, they have a kind of procession. Have you been to the cathedral?
No.
No? To the cathedral at the old town?
No.
We haven't discovered that much yet.
Yeah, okay. It's like just taking the Belcourt to the side of the other river. That's right. Yeah, so it's not the basilic on the top of the hill, but the Catholic cathedral just in front of, but in the old town. And then on the 8th December, they have this procession that starts in the cathedral, and they go up on foot till the basilic, the top of the hill. Yeah. No matter the cold weather, no matter the rain, they do that. Okay, so coming back. Yeah, so the first time we did something there, it was for the 8th December, and then for mission reasons, we even sang a song to Mary, but no problem. We didn't become Catholic. And then on the following year, as the Alpha didn't work at the campus, we started something at the student house, one of the student houses. And then this at the bottom is the thing there. And then we had the very nice opportunity to meet the 2 Brazilian girls who already lived there.
E uma até hoje tá com a gente.
So let's say this girl here is a Brazilian. She was Catholic. The other girl was like just in looking for spirituality,
Right.
and then she's together with us since till today, as we continue to have things on the internet. She had to go back to Brazil because of her visa. She had finished her studies and so on, but she kept in contact with us. So yeah, it's very nice. And then Zoe, the other girl, the French girl here, after this first year, when Rodolfo and Lucas came, she came to live together to share the apartment here up there. And then also she was lovely. She's Catholic as well, but she gave us a very good hand everywhere. So as we continue to have this work there on the following year in 1819, she went with us every week to help us with Alpha on her old residence. So it was very, very nice. Yeah, and this is the origin for something that later became the Maison d'Unité, which is the House of Unity, which is our ecumenical work that you're going to see tonight. Yeah, so this is the origin of that this activity. Yeah, and then during the first semester of 18, we started thinking about the possibility to move out from that other church building, and the Lutheran Church proposed us to come here, even to use the apartment, which was completely empty at the time. Nobody was living there, because the church now is very, very small. They had a problem with their the last pastor they had, let's say around 2014, 15 maybe. We were not here at the time. And then it just dismantled the congregation. There are now only around 20 people max for their worship services that happen once a month, and it's like mostly very old people. Yeah. So we started gathering at the apartment at this time, let's say by April 2018. And then we just continued the discussions, and by May, June, we presented the proposal to come here and to use officially the chapel, and with the idea already to remove the church benches and to have a new decoration and so on. And it was quite fast, because we were very impressed how the Lutheran Church was eager to do these changes to welcome and host us here. So it was approved, and then this year we went back to Brazil. So yes, no, we went to the United States. Yes, sorry. So we went to the States to visit my sister there, and then we came back in the beginning of August. And in the beginning of August, we just ran like crazy to do all the necessary changes for both decorate this part of the church and to put furniture in the apartment to create this the collocation. Yeah. So to welcome Lucas and Rodolfo. So everything that, most of the things, of course, that after when we came to live, we bought some things, but most of the things was just things that people in the church donated. The sofa. Yes, like these two sofas, for example, we just found the beginning of 2018, just by where the girls live, on that small street we took after we left the bus yesterday. Wow. They were just there, like people just threw them away. Okay, let's take it. They are quite heavy, so.
It was actually a sofa now as well.
Yeah, you saw it. Yeah. But they were in a condition that we could use them if we put a kind of cover up there. Perfect. And then we just kept them, thinking about, okay, maybe in the future we can use them for something. So in August 18 we got this one, and then we just bought the tables and the carpet and the black chairs. The red chairs were here already. The shelf was there, the thing was there. Yes, the coffee maker and so on. So it was very nice.
Really good idea with the
we tried to buy the less expensive. That's expensive we found, but it's okay. Yeah. So that's the context for arriving here, and then we launched when in September 2018, the missionjeepp. So this was our first gathering in this, when we created missionjeepp with the name we gave. So it was very nice. Sandra came here that day. Also, Christine. Mauro came some days after. Yeah. So Mauro, our director from Missão Zero, came for the first time in some weeks after this. So and when we do the first, we continue with this tradition of having the first evening of the year really open for the youth and for people in the church who want to see and have some contact with the youth and see what we do and see, because we also have the opportunity to present the activities for the year, so they can see them. Can you just verify if it's okay?
I'm keep on.
We are on the screen.
Yeah.
You don't need to film it very much there, but because then it can edit a little bit.
I think this is better.
Yeah.
Both of you are in the screen, is that good?
Yeah. Good. Thank you. What else? Yeah, so then we can show this graph in a better. Yeah. So most of the things about the way we do today, actually we developed with trial and error, or trial and getting good answers, or listening to the youth, because in the origin for arriving here in Lyon, there was this will of doing something mostly for students, And at the time, the national representative for evangelization was a British man, actually, who had been in France for a long time. Very, very nice guy, together with the representative for youth work. Did you get to meet Mark Sheffer?
Yes.
Yeah, and Andy Butler. Andy Butler too? Okay, yeah, so Andy is the British guy, and Mark was the representative for youth at the time, and so it was them in contact, mostly I think with Pierre. Pierre is the pastor just beside here, that had this idea, also together with the president of the consistory. So they talked to us the first time in 2016, April 2016, and then we came to Lyon two times that year, so in July and October, to develop a little bit more. But they don't know much about mission and missionary projects and so on. So their idea was mostly to have a chaplaincy for Protestant students. But then when we arrived here, we saw that there were not many Protestant students. So it's not, you cannot have a chaplaincy if you have no one to serve to. And then we understood, okay, it's a real mission work. So, and then we started with all this discussion about using the name mission and also to name ourselves missionaries and so on, because for the French mindset, there are some taboo words in the church, and they are evangelization and mission. Mostly based on the idea of mission, like going to Africa and colonizing, you know.
Yeah.
So we have been discussing a lot about this, and they have understood the importance to.
Hoje é tão mais fácil.
Yeah, nowadays it's much easier to talk about this and to use the word mission in the church. Yeah. So then, when we finally understood all this, and then we had time to reflect, we understood that what we needed to do and what would be good on the way that the church saw it was to have something like we have here in the graph, like having this mission work as a kind of a bridge, or making this link between the people who are outside the church, but maybe even the people that are in the church, because we know that we have to evangelize the youth in the church as well. But also using the mission work as a way to reach out, and also a way to train these guys to be able to serve. So that's why we think that this kind of circle can go on. Also because many of the times we cannot be at all the parishes at the same time, but then the parishes also have a very important role talking about the youth and welcoming them very well. So also that's why we talk about this in the brochure that we did about the role of the parishes in this, because I don't know, maybe something similar in something similar in Norway, in England. When you have a person who is paid to do that, in the mindset of people sometimes, okay, he will do everything, and I don't have to do anything, right? So sometimes we have this danger in the church. So we've been discussing a lot about this, and then the important roles that the congregations have with our work. So now we are really picky with them, saying that you have to give the announcements for Mission Jeepp in all your services and in all the parishes, because Mission Jeepp is the only activity for this age range for all the parishes. So it's part of your activities, right? It's really hard. It's we don't understand. We send them images, we send them the text, but sometimes they just forget. So now it's very nice, because when the youth go to the different services, they say, oh, they didn't talk about Mission Jeepp.
But so Jeepp is young students and
Youth.
Professional, young professionals.
what does that mean, or what do you?
Like young adults who are not students anymore and who are already in the.
Talvez isso seja,
Like you are.
talvez isso seja importante falar
Yes.
de como funciona, porque tu é estudante até tal idade, depois tu é jovem profissional, dificilmente alguém vai estudar depois.
So this is sorry. Okay? Do you understand?
The Portuguese?
No. the thing there. Yeah, jeune is like youth. Yeah. So this is the other thing that we had to adapt. Like we understood that it would be better to adapt because their focus on the beginning it was really like students. But then here in France there are two points that make this really difficult if you are in a small structure. So first, that the French society in general, not only the church, is very divided in this age range stuff. So you are a teenager till you finish your high school, and then suddenly you become an adult when you become a student. And then you are a student between 18 and 25, 26 max, and then you are a professional. So many times you are going to see activities that have a very specific target. So we have now 18, 25-year-old something. But then in France also students, they move around very much. Sometimes they have a short internship in another place for 6 months, 1 year, and then they move, and they come and then they go.
faculdade tem cursos que tem uma cidade e
Yes.
outra.
Sometimes they come for courses that happen in one city, and then there are courses that happen in another city. Or, for example, for people who study law, when they apply for the master, the two master years are completely separated. So you mean that you have to apply for the first year, and then you have to apply for the second, and the second can be in another place. So maybe you have your license 3 years in one city, your master 1 in another city, and your master 2 in another city.
Really?
So it can be really complex to create something like that can give a kind of body and consistency with a public that moves around all the time. And as at the time we had some people who were not students anymore, but like were already in the professional life, we just let's embrace everybody and let's see how it works. So that's why nowadays we say like we even put it there that we welcome people from 18 to 40 years old, because we also have this generation of adults that are still single, they are not married, and they just feel fine to be here with us. So why not?
Posso falar?
Yes, of course.
Então, tem vários ciclos no ano, por exemplo. Na rentrée tinha um monte de jovens, por exemplo. Aí a gente sabe, tem uma ideia de quantos jovens tem. Aí, por exemplo, agora é uma época que tem os exames que eles estão meio desaparecidos. A gente mandou mensagem, a maioria tem provas e está estudando, então eles não participam de nada. Aí janeiro começa a ter a vida normal. A gente vai ter uma ideia do que é o ano lá por março, que aí a gente tem uma ideia daqueles que realmente se fixaram no grupo ou aqueles que só vieram ver.
So Mariana is reminding me that this also creates a kind of different, a kind of cycle in between during the school year. So we have the party, let's say mid-September, end of September. So there usually we have many people. And then the first semester, mostly for people who are in Lyon for the first year, they do not come at all. Or they come once in a while, maybe they will come for the Christmas party. And then these days Mariana was just sending messages to people who we know and that are not coming much in the late weeks. And then many exams at this time of the year before Christmas. And then maybe in January, February they start coming again. And then by March we have an idea what are our real public that year. So, yeah.
E tem pessoas que vêm só para fazer um estágio de 6 meses. Então, tem jovens que estão vindo nos encontros que vão ficar só até janeiro.
So, for example, there are people who come only for internship of 6 months. So they come in the beginning, like September, December, January max, and then they leave. So it's all this different things. Yeah. So it changes a lot.
I will just say the same thing has happened in NMS in Norway.
Yeah.
Before we had work that we call 18 to 30 or 18 to 40. We stopped using the age range.
Yeah.
Because we look at it as a phase of life. not age.
Yeah, feels
So,
like
like for instance, myself,
Yeah.
I have friends that are have my same age, but it's in another situation, like having 4 children and living in the Bygda, in the village. Yeah, so there are so many. Yeah, it's not about the age, but
Yeah.
pace of life.
Phase of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Esse ano a gente tem tido bastante, de 19 anos, que nunca tinha sido o caso. Esse ano a gente tem bastante pessoas que estão no primeiro ano, principalmente no grupo de hoje, por exemplo.
Yeah, this year we have many people, it's a little bit different, who are in the first year of university, mostly in the group for this evening, for example. Okay, so let's just continue with this one. You have more questions?
I don't know if you have some questions. Maybe you answer it.
Yeah, this is talking a little bit about the activities, but then we use the other one. Yeah, so maybe we can do direct to the other one. Yes. So the main vision and objective, we can say, that was like we think that the mission work should create connections between people, and then considering our target public to people at their age. Because, for example, we understood youth work here in France is really strange for us, because for the teenagers and the Sunday school and the catechism, they only have one gathering a month in the church. So and then of course that the young adults were gathering 2 times.
Thank you.
But then when we just started having weekly gatherings, we saw that it helped very much to naturally create this link among people, and we didn't have to force anything. People just started going out together outside the activities that we proposed, and then it has been a good, very, very good help for many of them, mostly for those who are really alone. For example, last year, before summer, there was one of our friends, a girl who had finished her master, and then she was looking for a job. And in her case, it's a little bit complicated because she had already done a master before to be a history teacher, but it didn't work for her because she was kind of very timid and very shy, and she panicked in the classroom, mostly with like 10, 11-year-old, you can imagine. So she did something more in a kind of how you say, bibliotecano, library thing, to work in library and so on, and the archives, and museum things. So another girl in the group, she just knowing about this situation, she volunteered to help this girl to practice before like job interviews, and to give some tips about clothing and how to behave and things like this. So it was just perfect, you see, and we didn't need to propose anything or even to ask this girl, can you give a hand to the other? No, it just happened. So we see that it was like kind of natural, and then we don't understand how people in the church don't see it, because even for the youth groups, right? Like yesterday, as Samuel, the pastor, said, and I told you later, that it's a real struggle for that congregation to keep their youth group, but they don't even see each other like in a way that they can cultivate a friendship and so on, you know. So then it's really weird for us.
You really have to invest in young people.
Yeah.
But once you invest in them, they rise.
But because this maybe is a kind of mentality for the church in France, because this thing about the discipleship is never in their mind, right? They don't understand that it's not only the activity that matters, but you have to talk to them, you have to follow them up, you have to ask how they are doing, right? And maybe this is the kind of, let's say, the little extra that we give with our work, then that's why people come and stay, right?
É, porque a gente acha que o acompanhamento que a gente faz é o que faz toda a diferença.
Yes, this is the big difference because
Pode trazer.
yes, I said before. Because what we see is that sometimes, like people who have been in the church for a longer time, they tell us that people here in Lyon, they never invite for a meal at their homes, even if they have the conditions to do that, like the older ones, right? The pastors are so busy that they don't have time to go and see people many times. So that's why for us it's not something very like extraordinary what to do. It's just simple things that if they were more let's say aware about this would make a very, very big difference.
É, uma das coisas é que até quando a gente estava falando agora da continuidade, é que uma coisa que as pessoas se preocupam é que a gente tem a nossa casa aberta, por exemplo, mas isso é muito do Brasil, né? E que talvez o que vem depois não vai ter essa porta aberta, que para os jovens é muito importante, né? Eles passam aqui, eles nos convidam. Eles dizem, eu posso ir na tua casa.
So Mariana is reminding me about the other factor is that it's also about the way that we are open to them, in a way that we open even our house, right? So we invite people often. We usually also invite the whole group sometimes. So before autumn vacation, we just had almost 30 people up there. So, of course, that we have the possibility to do. We know that most of the students live in a very small place, so usually they will not invite. But we have the possibility, so we do that, and then I think that changes everything. As like people in Lyon, we comparing to Nantes, for example, are much more closed than other places. So yeah. So this is another point that we're thinking about. Not we, but people were just raising the topic that it would be nice that the person who replaced us could keep the same idea, right?
Yes.
So. And then, of course, so the idea to create these connections among the youth themselves, of course, connection to God, with the parishes, and also with the city. We want people to be able to engage in something that can be something to change the local reality. Be it together with other associations. We've been trying to get together with other missions who go outreach university students. Also, there is a very nice initiative here in France of an association which is called Coexister. So they talk about people of different. It's not even faith, but a different mindset, let's say in English, to live together. So there are Muslims, Jews, Christian, and how is it? Atheists. Atheists, or
atheists.
Atheists.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Atheists.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who are part of this association. So they had already come to take part in one of our evenings. We went this year to their beginning of the year gathering. They want to use this place for their gatherings.
Oh.
Yes, it's just crazy. But we see that it helps a lot to have a better idea of society, because here in France it's so mixed. And this association is very nice because they propose it's not a kind of training, but it's more like a kind of formation against. Yes, how can we say that in English? Conscientization formation or something like this against prejudice. So they raise questions in schools about, for example, do you know what is the bigger Muslim country in the world, and then of course that most of people don't know that, and then they think that all Muslims are Arabs and things like this. So it's very nice work they
E eles
do.
conscientizam contra a intolerância.
Yes, so
entre as
against
religiões.
against intolerance among religions. So we see it's nice to be part or to be together with people like this.
Oh. That's cool.
And then so here a little bit about the different types of activities that we propose. So we really started with this group that gathered already, which the name is A+, so which was the gathering was Monday. So A+, it's really A+, like the grade you can have, A+, or it can also be see you. So I can tell you A+, so see you.
Okay.
Yes. So it's this thing. Yeah, so the cross here is the plus sign.
Cool.
Is that the Protestant cross?
No, it's not. It's maybe there are the elements because the dove is there, but it's not the Protestant. Have you seen the Protestant cross? Yeah. Mariana has.
Mariana says.
Yes, Mariana. Yes. If you want to buy, we can give you the address of. There's one library in the city center just beside Bellecour, where you can buy it.
Tem vários.
So, and then Maison d'Unité, as we told you, it was started in that Catholic student home, and then in 2018-19 they had this idea, this partnership we continue to have with mostly the Catholic Church and the Anglican pastor. And so the first year was 18, 19. It was with Lucas and Rodolfo. No, 1920. Yeah, because of the pandemic. Yeah, it started that year. And at that moment, we still had the gatherings at the student home, and then on the second year, and then we just had to go online as with everything else. And then on the second year, we spent most of the time online. It was just very bad. People were so tired.
Mas foi legal.
Yeah, it was nice. So we did everything online. So to explain a little bit the dynamics, then you can also read when you improve a little bit your French in the brochures. But I told you a little bit yesterday. So for the group A+, we have 1 week with a kind of a spiritual or biblical study or so on. And yes, it was on Monday. So
Com testemunho de pessoas.
yes, so the topic was like to talk about the disciples. Or we have someone that we invite to talk a little bit. And then on the second week is something more like relaxed, or maybe we watch a movie, we just have a discussion around the meal and so on. But yeah, we are thinking about changing that. As I told you yesterday, that now people are much more interested in spiritual discussions than just to come in and eat. Cool. They don't want this anymore. They want to have content.
Is that a change in the because the people has changed, or they have?
It's the same people.
Yeah, the same people. So they have developed.
Yeah, the same people that were here before, and they have experienced the two type of evenings, and they prefer.
Wow, that's cool.
People want it. I think they don't know how to ask for it sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think when it's sort of like, I don't know, it takes a little bit of opening up, sort of soften and almost.
So for example, one of these girls, she from the first year, she was very clear about that, and then she's a philosophy teacher, and she even started studying theology this year.
Wow.
Cool. Interesting.
She was here on Monday. Yeah.
Which one? What's her?
She was the girl who sit here at the back. She was sit here at this place.
Okay.
Yeah, you were not. Yeah, you saw her. Yeah.
Blonde hair?
No.
Florence?
Dark hair. With glasses.
Oh.
Tall?
Tall and thin.
Tall and thin.
Yeah.
She's interesting.
She's very nice.
Yeah, she was good in English.
Yeah, she's good in English. Okay. And she speaks Italian as well. She lived in Italy for 1 year of her studies. And then we tried to keep kind of the same idea of having a program with 2 different propositions for Maison d'Unité. So Maison d'Unité is really a proposition to, of course, live together, youth from different Christian backgrounds. So mostly, we haven't had any Anglican yet or any Orthodox, but so mostly
Ano passado, sim.
Anglican. No.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, Anna.
Como?
Because we had an intern from England
Yeah.
in the Anglican church. Oh, it was so nice girl. It was just a pity
Yeah.
because of a pandemic and Brexit. She had to go back home. Yeah. So it's
Where was she from?
Ah, perto.
I don't remember where she was from, but she was living in Edinburgh before, and then she came back to London area. But I don't remember. Yeah, and then she was spending the end of the year around the south coast.
Yeah. Do you know who sent her? Like, what was she involved with?
She was involved in the Anglican church here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But do you know if it was with, like, because there's a Anglican program, called MES, which is a
I don't know.
mission experience scheme, and I wonder if there was, like,
Maybe.
because we're kind of hopping on that.
Okay. Maybe. I can ask.
Yeah, I'm just curious if that was
Yeah.
through that.
Because of course they needed to be funded to be able to come
Yeah.
because the church here itself could not finance them.
I bet it was.
So yes, sorry. But then the majority are either Protestant or Catholic or more from evangelical churches. Yeah. So here in France, it's nice to say that they really make a division in what is Protestant and what is evangelical. So Protestant is only Reformed and Lutheran. These are the real Protestants because they come from Reformation. All the children of the Reformation are not Protestants; they are evangelical.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so the idea is that for Maison d'Unité, 1 week we go into something related to one of the specific churches, or into history of the church, or into the history of ecumenism. And on the 2nd week, we have the Alpha course. So the Alpha course gives us this possibility to discuss and give the different point of views based on our own experience as Christians. So this is what we're going to be this evening, to have an Alpha course to talk about why and how to pray.
Interesting.
E nós temos 10 que moram,
Ah, yes.
10 que moram juntos, mas tem muita gente que vem de fora.
So in the beginning, we started this at the student home, and all of them, despite one, because at the student home they can only have students. And then we saw it didn't work very well because at the end they didn't meet outside the gatherings for Maison d'Unité. And then for the 2nd year we had one collocation and part of the others living at the same student home. And then this year is the first time we have 2 different apartments with 2 different collocations where people live and share. And then we see there's a very, very big difference in this idea of creating connection among them, and now we see that people are really, really close to each other. Is that other thing? Bonjour!
Bonjour.
Merci beaucoup, Monica!
Tout est là. Nutella.
Tout est là. Understood? Everything is there.
Oh.
So Nutella is
Not Nutella. Tout.
Nutella.
But you see, in French, we're going to connect when you end one word, even if you don't pronounce the specific letter in the isolated case. But if it finishes in a consonant and the next starts with vowel, you are going to connect. So tout est. It's terrible.
Oh, it's hard.
Tout est là.
Nutella.
Yeah, the food has arrived. It's the same cook who came on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, this night she's not staying, so she just delivered it. I would say another thing, but I forgot. Yeah, so that now the guys live there. One apartment is kind of outside the city, so but to the other side where the girls live, and then the other apartment is not that far, so they come and we gather here.
E que outras pessoas.
Yes, that's it. And but it's very nice because we keep the activity open to the ones who want to come. So many times the people from Monday group come also on Wednesday. So for example, one of the girls was here on Monday. Two girls will come here tonight. And other people from outside. For example, in the beginning of this year, one guy contacted us by another pastor that we know from the Baptist church, and saying that okay, I'm looking for a church. I had problems with where I was and so on, and I just want to be open to different types of Christian traditions. And then it's a very, very nice guy who says he's very mature about his faith. He is 30 years old. It's only 2 pages like this. We just glued because what we did, this one was for the year of the pandemic, and then we just didn't want to throw everything away, and then we adapted for 2021. Yeah. Mariana working a lot for it. Very ecological. So this guy is very mature about his faith. He's around 30 years old. He comes from a Pentecostal background, but with a kind of very close approach to even other churches. And he was kind of disappointed with his own church, and now he is just in a phase that he is going to every different thing to see. And and then last Sunday was the first time he went to the Protestant service with us. So
Porque
he
diz
was
que
there.
isso é uma coisa que a gente faz também. Se a gente vê que tem alguém no grupo que não está engajado em igreja nenhuma, a gente tenta entender o que ele procura e a gente vai com ele numa igreja protestante ou não.
So we try to follow these people up in a way to see if they have contact with any church, and trying to also to create this contact, even if it's not with Protestant congregations, because this is another idea that we started last year, that we try to go once in a while to a different Christian celebration. So be it the Protestant church, Catholic church, we really want to go to the Orthodox to see how they are. And it's crazy here in around Lyon. We have many Orthodox and even let's say the Eastern churches. So, for example, Copt, like the Egypt Copt, like which speak a tongue that nobody understands, even them.
Do you have many migrant churches?
Yes, and also there is the migrant thing. But the thing about the migrant churches, I don't know if maybe it's the same in England, that they are not very open, and they even keep their language. For example, there are here in this place there are Ethiopian, Malgache, and Cameroonian who gather also.
Here.
Yeah,
in this building. Okay.
So Ethiopian on Saturday afternoon, and they use what's their language? Amharic. They use Amharic. There are also some people from Eritrea in the group. Yeah. The Malgache gather Sunday afternoon, and they use Malgache. And the Cameroonian use the Sunday morning when the Lutheran are not here.
Yeah.
So they're not very.
They are not open. Yeah. So if you want to do something together, it must be something special. There's another Malgache church where we went yesterday. So it's the same thing. So the Protestant use Sunday morning, the Malgache use Sunday afternoon. But if they want to do something together, it needs to be something special. Right?
Tipo, a gente vai fazer o roteiro juntos
for,
com a Missão Zero.
For example, here the Lutheran Church invited us for something about Christmas, so it will be on the 18th, December 18th, and then there will be all the congregations together here. But otherwise, it's very difficult to have them and also open to French people, for example. So this actually has been one of our not worry, but we will try to be conscient about that. We want not to focus only in foreigners, because the effect of being foreigner in France, of course, that gives us the understanding of these people. But we are sure that we are here for the French church and for the French people, and this is the other challenge, to have a kind of balance. But I think that we managed to do that.
So you're not making a Brazilian church.
Yeah. This is of course we don't want to have a Brazilian church. For example, yesterday in this reunion, this meeting, I went to the city hall. I met again one pastor who is Brazilian, but he is a pastor for a Portuguese-speaking Pentecostal church.
Yeah.
Right. So we don't want this.
I understand. NMS is renting a big church in Oslo now. We move our offices from office building to the church, and we will also have there will also be a Philippine church there and a Chinese church in that building. In that church.
It's nice to share. Right?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
It's your office as well. Kind of.
Can you tell us the time?
The time?
5 to 12.
5 to 12. Yeah, that's how you say. 11:56. Tempo toll. That's right.
The best is
Yet to come.
10 to half next.
Yeah.
This is very.
Actually, City and Nell, which is Brazilians, being in Oslo now,
Yeah.
they are so like, why? Like Norwegians are so focused on what's to come, and that they are saying this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So T-Polity, then it's actually 20 past 2. So,
Yeah.
But we are so eager to go forward.
Forward,
So
okay.
Looking forward for the 3 o'clock.
So just to tell you, the reservation is at 1 p.m. at the restaurant.
Okay.
So if
Is
we-
it far from you?
I think 20-minute walk.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So did the girls give you the instructions to reach them?
Oh.
Yeah.
They gave me. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know yet, but maybe.
He's the boss.
Yeah.
He's the boss.
Okay, so let's go on. The other thing that we wanted to do is really to open the church and make it available for people to use the place during the week. So that's the permanence. So when you are at the place and you stay and you welcome people. At the first year we were really ambitious, let's say, and as Lucas and Rodolfo were living here, they could help us much more. So we could open the church 3 days a week. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Mas como a gente morava longe.
Yeah, but that, in our case we lived far, so that's how we could count on them very much. From around 3 to 6, and then of course on Monday we could just make it together with the gathering at 7:30. And then we saw that it was a big effort. So the second year we did it 2 days a week, Monday and Wednesday, and now we just do it on Monday because otherwise it was kind of overwhelming us. Mostly also because the guys are not coming very much to use, because it depends every year who is available, who wants to come on Monday afternoon, for example.
Mas hoje já existe a dinâmica de que se eles querem alguma coisa, tipo por exemplo da aula de violão, que eles vão nos propor e aí a gente vem e faz.
But many times what happens is that the youth want to talk or they want to propose something, and then they know that they can use the space, they know that we can use this time to do things together.
Porque durante a semana a Igreja Luterana nos deu a liberdade de, mesmo se o jovem precisar vir para comer ou fazer qualquer coisa aqui, que a gente pode abrir, que eles têm a liberdade de usar.
So the Lutheran Church gave us the possibility to use as we wanted during the week. So if the youth want to come here just to eat or to rest or anything, they can do it.
It's nice.
So it's very, very nice. Yeah. Remember once there was some girls who were rehearsing for something that they would present at the museum. So they invited their classmates here for the rehearsals.
Wow.
E já teve festa do pijama.
Oh yes, and then some girls made a kind of girl party here one night. So they could, because these they become bad.
Yeah.
So you can just bring your sleeping bags and so on. And
Perfect.
they made a kind of party, girl party. That's perfect. Yes. It's nice to have a place like this.
Yeah.
So the other one is the accompagnement, which is just the follow-up or discipleship, or the way it needs to be, right? Because then, let's say that you have people, of course, in different levels about their spiritual quest, and people who really want to study the Bible, people really who need to discover Christianity, and so on. So this is what I told you before. And then, together with the A Plus group, we started this that people gave us the idea during the online gatherings. Because when we went online in the first semester of last year, we continued proposing gatherings. But of course there was no use to have a kind of convivial gathering, just to go online to see people, hello, how are you, just like this. So we really made, we took the advantage of this to propose discussions, kind of different studies. And then people came out with the idea, why don't we read the Bible together? And then it was when it came the idea of the lecture biblique accompagnée, which is like Bible reading together or something like this. Yeah.
A gente acompanha nas dúvidas dele.
Yeah. So the idea was, it's not a kind of Bible study, but that really everybody is going to read what we propose to read together, and then we gather to ask questions or to discuss a little bit about the text and the questions they have about that. So we started online still last year with the Book of Acts. And then we use different material as input. So we use a lot now Bible Project, which is just amazing. And about Luke and Acts, they made even a mini series. So it's very, very nice. And now maybe some Bible commentaries about the specific parts or Bible introduction about the book. And then this year now we have.
Do they have the Bible Project translated?
Yes, in French.
Brilliant.
Yes. So maybe we cannot still find all the original videos, the original topics, but they are doing it little by little.
Yes.
And one of the national responsibles lives in Lyon. We haven't met the person yet, but we know that she goes to one of the English language congregations, and then she contacted us already. So it's very nice.
Very cool.
NMS were asked if we wanted to try it.
Yeah, but we didn't. But NMSU is a part of it.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah. So
To like to translate
to Norwegian.
to
Yeah, some videos is
Nice.
yeah. But I don't know why NMS didn't want to.
I don't think they found,
That's part of what we do.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, but it can be a support to what you do.
Yeah, and I believe that's what.
I think that's part of the problem. The problem of NMS is that it depends on what person gets it.
Yeah.
On their
On their
table.
dad.
Table. Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to be the right person.
Yeah, because if the general secretary gets it, it's like hard for him to know. And this is,
And I
We're
think
so
some of the-
fragmented.
some of the translation stuff isn't always spread around to people that could actually do the translation. Because I've offered several times, and then all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, so good, can you translate?" She's like, "Well, Leah's offered." They're like, "Oh, has she?" And I'm like, "For years."
Wow.
This is part of the structure.
Yeah.
NMS.
We're working on it.
We're working on it.
Good. New generation. Yeah.
Yeah, new generation. Come on.
So this year we are reading the letters of John, and then we are going to read Ecclesiastes.
No.
Ecclesiastes.
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 Hmm?
Yes.
No. Ecclesiastic. That's new.
What?
I don't know if that's in Norwegian.
Ecclesiastes. It's like
Wisdom of Solomon.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Ordspråken. Ja.
I don't know.
E aí a
It's
gente,
like you say first Moses book.
Yeah, second Moses, yeah.
Crazy.
e aí a gente faz encontro
We should
uma
actually
vez por
change
mês
that.
na segunda
Yeah.
e uma vez por mês o mesmo
Our
encontro
generation.
online para os que estão fora de
Well, there
Lyon.
was only like
Mas que tem
things
de
that
Lyon
was
participa
being used since the new translation came out.
É que eu acho que vai lançar um curso.
Yeah.
Whereas in English you had like thousands.
Yeah. So just to go a little bit because we are kind of
Yeah, sorry.
about time. So this we do once a month with A plus group here, and the same gathering you propose online for those who are outside Lyon, and maybe to those who could not come on Monday and then can catch up because then the day it will be Sunday afternoon.
Is that what media are you using online?
We are using Skype.
Skype. Oh, really? Cool.
Nós já testamos.
We have tried everything.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Our network here is very bad. We have very bad internet.
Yeah, okay.
Internet is really bad in France.
Yeah.
So with everything we tried, Skype is the best
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah.
Skype is the original.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's roots.
Yeah.
Go back.
I still don't know why NMS uses Microsoft Meet.
Oh yeah.
It's so complicated.
It is. Yeah, maybe.
I've gotten serious.
Yeah, it's not
Just
complicated.
a joke.
Yeah.
Another thing that we started, when we started in 2018, is to propose worship services, but we don't propose worship services to the youth, because the idea was also this. We were in this middle between what missionjeepp will become. Will it become a youth parish, or we can keep the youth in contact to kind of renew the parish where we have mostly old people. And then this was of course the most difficult option, but we went for that because that change structure is not easy.
Yeah.
And then so when we celebrate the worship services, we celebrate in the parishes, and it's the youth who celebrate together with us. Nowadays, for example, we don't even need to preach because there was a training on preaching happening some years ago, and then some of them took it, for example. So it's really like to train them to take active roles in church. So we do it together, we prepare the service together. Of course, sometimes people cannot be there, and then we do more or less some of the things. Maybe we help most with music because we don't have many musicians. And then if we don't need to preach, we don't preach. So it depends, but it's the way. And then we try to be at least into all these 8 congregations once in a kind of 2 years, right? So everybody can see what we do and can have a closer contact to the youth and so on.
Então a gente tem 3 cultos previstos já.
Yeah, so now for the second semester, we have 3 worship services in the schedule. One at the end of February, one at the end of March, and one in May.
E ela queria nos convidar para em janeiro. dessa semana.
So the woman was on the telephone, wanted to invite us for another one in January. In the Maison de Retraite?
Ué,
Yes.
não,
No?
Teodoro não.
So in the church that we went, yes. Mariana had to say no, sorry.
Can I ask you, like, you said the 8 congregations or 8 parishes
Yeah.
that is like supporting this work.
Yeah.
Could you show a map?
Yeah,
Where
of course.
they are?
There is a map.
Good.
Very good. I
Question.
found this because I
Good
saw it
question.
yesterday there, and I remember to give you this.
Ué, tínhamos esquecido.
Very perfect question.
Perfect question.
Yeah.
Just remind me
Question.
about that. I had they have just renovated this, so here they have the map inside with the names of the parishes and the approximate location. So,
Yeah.
Le Parion.
there are even more things
Lyon.
because there is another kind of social work, which is this foyer. Foyer is the French word for home. So they created a house at one of the poor areas of Lyon, which is Duchère. Duchère is the name of the neighborhood, and they have a kind of social work there. So it's not a place where people live, but it's a place where people meet. So for example, they have a kind of scripture studies with Catholic, Muslims and so on. So because it's a very sensitive part of the.
Então eu explico para eles, tipo, essa daqui é mais retirada, essa daqui é bem mais retirada, essa daqui ainda dá para se
I explained
considerar.
them before. So these ones are the two which are really outside the Lyon metropole. So Villefranche-sur-Saône on the north, by the river, and the Nord is there. It's Bourgoin actually in the name of the town. So it was where Rodolphe was taking part of his internship as well. Yeah, and yes, and then Est Lyonnais is where we went yesterday on the east, and Ulan is in the southwest. But we can reach them easily with the metro, as we saw yesterday, and the other is even closer to the metro stop. And then the four around the city center.
E no,
Yes,
Well,
and we are.
Borrow and use the toilet.
You can borrow the toilet and take it with you, of course, no problem. Is that at the end on the right?
Orlan is where
Lucas worked. Yeah, Lucas worked.
okay.
So services and then group de jeunes, so it's a youth group. So we've also saw that it's very difficult. There's a transition between the teenage activities and the activities we do. So from last year we started to propose something because of pandemic again we could only do it one time presential, but then we invited all the teenagers from the different youth groups for one common celebration here. So we don't know yet what we're going to do this year, but we are going to try again because it's a way to kind of break the ice as well and then tell them that yes, when you become students, we will have something for you as well when you change your age range.
Because when you talk about, because in
Volan.
they have a youth group
Yeah.
every once a month,
Once a
Saturday.
month, yeah.
These youth, you will also will they will not be connected to Mission Jeepp.
They are not connected now, so the idea is to connect them
Yes.
doing kind of specific activities. So that's the idea. So like as last year, we could only do a service together here by the beginning of June, for example.
Yeah.
And then we invited everybody, and then there was nobody from Vonvelan, for example.
No.
Right?
Josué,
Yeah, but
é
Josué is,
estudante.
because there, as it was always difficult for them to have this group, there they already mixed the teenagers with the young adults, so students with high school students, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, even before. So, Mariana was reminding me that there was a boy from Vonvelan who came, but he's older, he's 20 something.
So when you say youth, you mean teenagers?
No, youth can be everything. But like when I want to talk about teenagers, I use the word teenagers. Yeah.
É, até 17 anos.
Yeah, like teenagers would be, yeah.
So youth could be children as well?
No. The idea is really to have like teenagers, yeah. Because in French, groupe de jeunes is teenagers.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
for the teenagers.
It would be in America.
Yeah. Youth, yeah. Because in Brazil we would use youth for even young adults,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah, I guess in Norway as well.
Yeah. So.
Ung.
Is teenagers, right? But is
Ung is
Larger.
everything.
it's everything.
Young at heart.
I'm ung.
Yeah.
And then
You're ung.
and then we wanted really to raise a kind of leadership among these youth. So this is the action group, so groupe d'action. And then we created this really to help us to think about the activities and so on, the new initiatives, and to ask their opinion about the decisions we would take. Because again, this is very complex in the church, as I talked a little bit yesterday about all these administrative layers we have. Of course, that we would like the youth to start taking more and more part in the different councils. But it's so heavy that actually you are very scared about that. There is one guy who has already taken part in the council here at the church just beside, and he is very tired. He does not have energy to come here on Monday evening, for example. because of course he's working a lot. He works during the whole weekend, but we see how tiring it can be. And then we're trying to have a kind of something different with them. So at least we go at the difficult meetings, and then we spare them in this, and then we do something like which is very practical with them, right?
The same question in NMS as well.
Yeah.
What does youth involvement mean?
Yeah.
Does it mean to like be one young person in the meeting with all the elderly people, or does it mean something else? So this is a big question.
Por exemplo, a Mônica, o Lesioné quer ano da missão de Pereira. Perguntou. Aí a Mônica falou que o Percy, porque a gente tinha dito que o Percy seria uma boa pessoa. E aí, só que ele não quer, porque justamente ele já está envolvido aqui e ele sabe que lá ele vai ser sugado, então ele disse não.
So, for example, he's telling me the example of this lady, the cook, that is very close to one of the boys who was here Monday evening. And as her...
Alessandro.
No, but it was not this one.
Okay.
It was the other one.
Okay.
Because Alessandro is the guy who is living with her now.
Yeah.
And there was another guy, Percy. I think Percy was on that table. No. Yes, he was here. Yes, he was here. Yeah. He lived with her. She was the first person who welcomed him when he arrived. Because he arrived also as a refugee.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and she goes to the church where we went yesterday. And so the council wanted a young person to their to take part. And then she just asked him, would you like to join? And he said no. Because I'm already taking part in the action group of missionjeepp. I know what it takes to be part of the church council, so no. Yeah, it's a lot of things. As I told you, even their president resigned recently because he was overwhelmed.
Yeah.
The president of their council.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should move. I don't know what else we have to talk.
Oh.
Is there anything else?
Nice.
We can see some pictures.
Yeah, nice
So this was in July 2020. We could after the lockdown and so on, we could still meet for a barbecue at the end of the year. So it was when this happened. Sorry. This with the group that started the Maison d'Unité with us last year, not the group of this year. What else? Yeah, then more some theoretical things. So here we have more pictures. Yeah. So different things. Yeah. So one example of worship service. This was crazy. It was in January 2019. So it was in one of these churches outside. So the one that would take 30 minutes in a train to arrive. It was January, so strong winter. It was raining, and we were around 10, 11 people who went together there. It was very, very nice.
Wow.
And then here one example of this activity that we propose in our place. So when it is the first week of vacation, so instead of having the gathering down here, we do it up there, and we invite the two groups together. So this was still so February 2020, and this time we did it in October now, first vacation, and we had a meeting, a gathering about a trip we took to Israel last year, and then we invited one of the women from the Catholic Church that was together with us. There's the same picture here the beginning of the year party in September. So something about the Maison d'Unité. So the group, so the group we had in 2019-20 and then the 2021. So we still had Gabrielle and Kevin among us. Yeah. So this girl here in the middle, she is the daughter of Samuel the pastor.
Oh,
and she was together with us before we met him.
The one in Dublin.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one who is in Dublin. She's the one in Dublin. Okay. Yeah. So a little bit about our internet activities we did during that year, and then what we did is now last December, we made this virtual choir. So like people were recording themselves as things, and then we made a series of songs.
I've heard something. So
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh.
So nice. Yeah.
And of course, all the time we had this follow-up possibility open, because the problem here in France for the second lockdown, it was that actually that we had a curfew in the evening. So this was the problem, that we could not meet in the evening, and that's why we could not continue with our activities during the week. But during the day, people could come if they wanted. Yeah. And then also a lot of the communication work we do, and then we see that this is very important, mostly in the social networks like Facebook and on Instagram. We also have WhatsApp group, we have Facebook Messenger group, we have some people that we contact by mail, and most also with the parishes.
Porque isso é uma coisa muito importante dizer. Muita gente chega porque viu a informação
I
só na
gave
internet.
this example before. So Mariana reminds me again that this continues to happen. Like 2 weeks ago, we had a guy out of the blue, no contact with church at all, but it was when the evening we were talking about the Orthodox. I'm just interested, and I'm going here and there. And he came, so it's nice.
Wow.
So all the visuals and the communication, like posters that we make, and then still because of the contact with Gabriel, we could even make a video. So it was very nice.
Talvez mostrar mesmo, que eles não entendem.
Yeah, but maybe they can watch later because they have the address there.
Ok.
Yeah. Maybe you can watch one of the movies, short movies. Yeah. Yes, and this also was very important last year to spread the vision, to really have the opinion about the congregations, the 8 partners. We made let's see, a missionjeepp day, October last year, to talk really about the future, about all this idea of people who would replace us and to keep the vision and so on.
I have some questions.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, I'm just thinking about, because the work that you present now, it's so similar to what I have already told you about missionjeepp.
Yes.
And I'm in the board of missionjeepp actually. So that's why I get to know that work more and more. And now it seems so, yeah. And this has some of the same story as well, because NMS has been part of like financing the project and the project pastor or like you. And now from last summer it went from being a project to
Part of church or
part of the church of Norway. And they are now financing this position, and NMS is sort of out of the picture, but we are giving Eucharist to them as part of our engagement in the work to continue. So NMS is part of it, but the only thing that we contribute with is being in the board
And with
and
the interns.
giving them some resources through Eucharist. And I was just thinking now, when you will finish your project, and then we'll go over to a church-based project, and you're also a bit unsure, like who will take over the role of, like what person will it be and how will. So I was just like thinking / proposing, like what do you think about like the continuing of this project, and how you think NMS should like join in, and would this be something that we could do? And also I'm thinking about, after talking about this yesterday, Sam and Hannes' role in this, we can also talk about that when we lunch, but like, and how Gabriel and Kevin and Rudolf and Lucas has been part of it. Would it be better if they were fully focused on helping out with missionjeepp instead of like spread out that much? As we do in missionjeepp, they are 100% in missionjeepp, for instance.
But maybe it's a good question.
So yeah, a lot of thoughts. I don't know what your thoughts.
Maybe I think we should move
Yeah.
on and leave soon, and then we can talk during the.
Yeah.